Now, we've got some more big breaking news for you this afternoon, and it's this. The French authorities have been forced to provide specialist facilities at the biggest migrant camp on the Channel coast. And our Home and Security Editor, Mark White, joins us now. Mark, it's been a very, very busy time for you, a very busy weekend, over 800 arriving. Tear gas was being fired over in France, and now we have what sounds like a luxury condo, kind of style setup, shower blocks, all the trimmings for the illegal immigrants on the French side there.
Yes, and as you can understand, there'd be a great deal of anger from those that, of course, are critical of the way in which France deals or doesn't deal with the Channel migrant issue, and also from local people in that area who are dealing with violence night after night. First of all, we can show you some images now of these toilet blocks and also showers that are being erected at the camp. The camp itself is Lune Plage, which is just near Dunkirk. And what they're saying is that they are now fitting multiple toilets, 22 already. It will soon, we're told, be 60 toilet blocks within this camp. In addition to that, there'll be shuttle buses that are going to take migrants to nearby shower facilities and also gym facilities. There you're looking at skips, special skips that have been installed so that they will have regular refuse collections to ensure that things don't get too untidy and dirty within the camps itself. I mean, the thing about this is, as far as the French authorities used to say, and certainly the UK authorities, it's all about trying to make things as, difficult for the migrants as possible in terms of there being a disincentive from crossing the Channel. If you are providing these facilities of toilets, shuttle buses to shower blocks and gyms that they can go to, refuse collections, allowing the charities in there to set up their feeding stations, then it's anything but that. And as far as local residents are concerned, Martin, they are outraged because they are putting up with this kind of violence night after night. I think we can show you, we're seeing some images there. Another image of, you can hear the sounds of explosions. Just take a look at this.
Affrontement en direct, police avec les migrants.
This is the town of Petit Grand Philippe, not too far from Grand Fort Philippe, which is the location where we saw the tear gas being deployed at the weekend. And this is another example just in recent days of the disorder that people are facing in these towns around Dunkirk and around Calais. Violence and clashes with the police. Cars belonging to local residents are being smashed up on a nightly basis. There are riot police in the early hours of the morning in these locations, firing, as I say, volleys of tear gas. The explosions you heard at the start there. And look at these fully clad riot police with their shields going into these neighbourhoods across back gardens to confront these migrants who are getting increasingly violent. And that's why local residents are understandably upset about the provision of these facilities at the biggest migrant camp in the area, because, Martin, what they say is far from deterring migrants from crossing the English Channel. It's going to encourage many, many more to come, knowing that, they're looked after. And once they get into the water, we know they're escorted across the English Channel by the French to UK waters, where they're picked up by the British and then taken to Dover Harbour.
Your personal data could be exposed right now without you even knowing it. And if you want it removed, use incogni.com/GB News in the description now and get 60% off an annual plan on us. Incogni reach out to the data brokers on your behalf and request that your information be deleted from their databases. And they'll keep sending removal requests to make sure your data stays gone. Sometimes your information ends up on strange, obscure websites that automated tools just can't reach. And that's why Incogni just launched their unlimited plan with a feature called custom removals. With this, you can submit any link where your personal information appears, literally paste in the URL, and their privacy team will investigate and work to get it removed. And getting started is super easy. Hit the link in the description, create an Incogni account, and tell them whose data you want removed. Grant them permission to work on your behalf, and then all you've got to do is sit back and relax. They'll keep you updated along the way. Incogni is totally risk-free for 30 days. If you try it, it's not for you, you'll get a full refund. So take back control of your personal data today with Incogni. Use our code GBNews at checkout via the link in the description, and you'll get 60% off an annual plan.
Mark White, of course, some people would say nobody wants people to be living inhumanely, but you have to feel for the locals there in those towns. They've been simply overrun, marauding, crime-ridden, violence, festering rubbish, shuttle buses, gym membership, shower facilities. Mark, all that's missing is the scented candles and the spa.
Well, yeah, you certainly got a point. I wouldn't necessarily want to spend a holiday there myself, but there's no doubt there are facilities being laid on for these migrants that would go against the thrust of what the French authorities are trying to do the last year or two, because they've been going into these camps at Lune Plage and elsewhere along the northern coast of France on a regular basis, and they have been clearing out these camps, demolishing the tents and other man-made structures within these camps, decidedly to make it a hostile environment for migrants so that they are not encouraged to set up camp in these jungle areas to try to make it as difficult as possible for the migrants. So a court order now, meaning that the French authorities have to provide for these migrants, they will see as going against everything that they have been trying to achieve. And I'm sure the British government as well will be rather annoyed that we are in the position now where these migrants are being catered for on the other side of the channel for as long as they need to be there before they make their attempt to cross. And as we know, the biggest December day on record happened just on Saturday with 803 migrants crossing in 13 boats.
Well, Mark White, it's been an epic year of Mark White exclusives. Like those dinghies, they simply never stop. Thank you very much for giving us that one again, Mark. Hope to see you again before the end of the year. Magnificent. Merry Christmas, Mark White. Lots more on that story throughout the show, of course, but now some very strong controversial comments from the head of the UK's equalities watchdog. Mary-Ann Stevenson has claimed that mass migration is not a threat and warned against what she's called the demonisation of migrants. Well, the new chairwoman of the Equality and Human Rights Commission was speaking after yet another bumper weekend of migrant arrivals. 803, of course, made the illegal crossing in 13 boats over the weekend, and this takes the total now to more than 41,000 this year. But Stevenson says it would be a mistake for the UK to leave the ECHR. Well, I'm joined in the studio by GB News' political editor, Christopher Hope. Chris, I think this is the true Labour Party. I honestly do think that the Labour Party is acting tough on smashing the gangs, on criticising the Tories for an open border experiment. But is this actually more akin to their real position? They seem to be addicted themselves to an open border experiment.
Martin, great to see you, of course, in your studio. Yeah, I think this here is Mary-Ann Stevenson. She is the chair of the Equalities and Human Rights Commission, a kind of a watchdog for the Labour's Human Rights Act brought in 1998. Codifying in UK law the Equalities and the European Convention on Human Rights, I should say. Until now, I think membership of that convention has been settled policy. But with Reform and now the Tories ahead of Labour in the polls, they've now got an advocate supporting membership and making the case for membership of the ECHR. I'm pretty certain we'll see more of this early in the new year as Labour come out and say there's no silver bullet to tackling that small boats crisis. Those images on screen now of migrants arriving. They can't be sent back, we're told by court, because of Article 3, their right to a family life, and other articles too. Now, what the right want to do, the Tories, Reform UK, is give sovereignty back to UK courts over the Strasbourg courts, and we'll see if that plays out. Also language there on how we describe and talk about migrants. She's talked about recognition that demonising migrants isn't right. Now, demonising implies there's something wrong in those people who feel threatened by the arrivals of young men without any ID documents. We don't know who they are. That's a concern about public safety. That's been jumped on by both Nigel Farage and Chris Philp. Very briefly, Nigel Farage says this: the vast majority agree with me that we must prioritise the right of British people, whatever their ethnicity. Chris Philp, he is the Shadow Home Secretary, he says it's wrong that this individual, Mary Ann Stevenson, should dismiss legitimate concerns about mass migration and crimes committed by foreign nationals.